Anything worth doing is best done together. Ain't the biggest in terms of numbers, but know we stronger than ever. Network interconnected, interests intersected, interwoven web, the nexus. Internet don't shape our perspective. We do this here in real life. Break bread and we bring our drum. Starts with a one-on-one. Scores never settle, never bit our tongue. What's this supposed to feel like? Don't know, but let's make it real. Body must move for shelter and food. Can't keep us out and we won't sit still. We saving our own lives. What's the difference between dangerous and needy? When the pain will never go away, forgiveness sure doesn't come easy. What are we restoring to if it's all broken in the first place? If we say return to home, we ain't talking about a birthplace. Stay prepared for worst case, maintain optimism of the will. What do we inherit? What do we build? What do we cherish? How do we heal? Gotta keep asking and practicing, the only way we'll ever know. Got 1,000 experiments, 999,000 to go. Welcome to 1 Million Experiments in the Field. I'm your host, Damon Williams. Unfortunately, my partner in decriminalization, Daniel, could not make it with us, but we are out here in beautiful Seattle. And for the past few years, we've been in the lab, learning from and building with organizers, movement builders, practitioners all over this land, practicing and experimenting in how to create and redefine safety in their communities. We've hopped out of the lab, we've come to folks' neighborhoods, we've come to folks' towns. We are officially pulling up and we are in the field. Here in Seattle, we are so excited to be hosted by Collective Justice, API Chaya, and M-Pop. They'll be joining us for the screening of our film 1 Million Experiments at Washington Hall. And we're gonna be able to build with and reconnect with this beautiful network. So with no further ado, we're gonna get in the field here in Seattle. Man, it's good to have you back, Daniel. How you feeling?
I'm all good, feeling fine, but I'm bummed I didn't get to be in the field, especially that field. It's looking pretty nice out there. Why'd I have to get sick for this episode? Anyone who knows me knows that I love to bask by the sparkling shores of the Pacific. That's my thing.
That's true, you do love to bask.
But at least I was able to join virtually for the screening we did at Washington Hall. And we learned Washington Hall isn't just an event space. It's a century-old historic building that's home to a bunch of movement organizations. One of those orgs, Creative Justice, is an arts-based healing space for youth and young adults impacted by unjust systems.
Nikkita Oliver, the org's co-founder and phenomenal movement organizer, was our guest host. And we were also joined on stage by Cassandra Butler of Collective Justice. J.M. Wong of the Massage Parlor Outreach Project also checked in with us virtually. And together, these experimenters spoke brilliantly as we talked about how healing is central to the work of abolition.
Survivors are often extraordinary at metabolizing just about anything into healing. And yet so many survivors never receive the healing or the care they deserve.
The biggest thing is humanizing the experience of the survivor and first recognizing that we're all survivors, no matter what side of the coin we're on. So whether you're the person that's caused harm or you're the person that has been harmed, survivorship is something that we all have in common. So being able to come from a more human perspective, being able to really show up authentically who you are, being able to really release and talk about both sides of where you're coming from is where your healing actually starts.
But let's actually decenter these violent systems and how we imagine what we are and actually claim our legacy. We are part of indigenous, Afro-indigenous practices that are older than our language, that is older than our tongue, that is older than this place as we know it. And that's really encouraging. What they do is wrong. What they are is an embodiment of violence. So the idea of let's be the anti-violent cops, let's fill in and be the alternative to the system, it's actually not the framework. It is how do we start from what does safety actually mean? It's usually very simple, very ancestral, very old school things. Most times it's about knowing your neighbors better.
Abolition is a protracted struggle. It is a multi-generational struggle. It is also maintaining the vision and the belief that a better world is possible, that there are other ways to do things. There have been other ways to do things before. There will be other ways to do things in the future. We don't have to stay in what we're in.
I just wanted to say, Nikkita, that was damn impressive synthesis. You just heard us all talking, and you're and now in recap, I'm gonna go boom, boom, boom. You damn good. Maybe you need a podcast. Maybe you need a little something interviewing people.
I appreciate, this is my dream job right here, facilitating conversation, so thank you.
The conversation on stage was beautiful. And Dame, I love what you said about those ancestral traditions. Sometimes when we talk about abolition, it can end up feeling a little abstract. Like if you're not in the midst of trying to do the work, it can seem like it's all about having the right words or knowing the right big theories. But in reality, most of the time, this work looks like sitting in circle together.
At the center of this work are processes rooted in restorative and transformative justice. These are frameworks for how people can address harm and facilitate accountability, navigate conflicts, and create space for healing without punishment or the involvement of carceral systems.
RJ and TJ, as they're known, aren't one-size-fits-all solutions or magic wands that erase harm, and they require a commitment and consent that is much deeper than what we've been taught to offer when there's conflict. But at their best, these circles and processes are remarkable, and they can open up space for healing that otherwise seems impossible.
Tyra Edwards and Aaron Faletogo met each other through the work of transformative justice, without realizing that their lives were inseparably intertwined through a moment of violence decades earlier. When this connection became clear, they made a choice that so few people ever get the chance to make, to try to figure out how to transform their pain and heal together.
Like I said before, TJ isn't a magical fix-all, and Aaron and Tyra aren't trying to be the poster children, claiming that all of our problems can be solved in a TJ circle.
But from where we sit, as people who have been documenting, studying, and practicing these processes for a decade, the two of them show us what can happen when you choose to heal and commit to the process. For the first time ever, they wanted to tell their story on camera. And so we're having this conversation kind of in the frame or in the house of transformative justice. When you first entered or encountered the notion of transformative justice, what did it sound like? What did it feel like? What did you think it was? And what do you know it to be now as folks that have been in the work?
At first I was like, what's this? Is this group therapy or what? Like, it was just different. And then what I noticed is that it was community. And it was community that wasn't a space where you're judged, where you're isolated, where you're thrown away. It was a place where you're accepting. You could be yourself and be honest and work together to make a difference. It's so different than our norms of being like, normally you do something wrong, you're out of here. And it's not that space. How do we change our way of being so that we can actually do life?
So, at 16, I was incarcerated and sent to an adult facility. And being in a place like that, it's not even fathomable, right? RJ, TJ, healing, those aren't even things that are spoke on and considered a weakness, Partaking in the powwows, and there was a seed there, a feeling there that started transforming my mindset, and then getting into activities was trying to help other people out. And then it just transformed to where I was not partaking in a lot of stuff that is very harmful, and being able to center myself in my healing, and then coming home and getting involved into the work. Now I can identify that and see that.
I lost my father when I was 6 years old. I was on my own healing journey, and I just kept on having this feeling like all these unanswered questions I had kept coming back to me. And I remember wanting more information for what happened with my father's loss. And I asked family. No one's really telling me nothing. It had been 25 years. We were in shared spaces, but we didn't know each other. I didn't know Aaron at all. The first time I met him, he gave me a burrito, and I was like, thanks, bro. And it was just it was brief moment, but I just remember feeling distinct, something was different. And I didn't know. I had no clue. All these years, I never had a name to put with my father's loss. I think we're on a shared email, someone that we were both connected with in community. And I remember seeing Aaron's name pop up in the email thread. I was like, wait, I just read about this name from doing my own research and trying to heal. And after I seen Aaron's name, I reached out to our collective justice team. I was like, is this who Aaron is? Did he just get out? And I just felt like all these questions flooded my mind. And I had to wrestle with what I had thought to be true for 25 years and what I read in my own healing process of what happened with my father's loss. And then I just met him recently, and I was like, this don't seem like it's fitting,
I didn't even have no clue. who Tyra was, I was approached by Matt and Martina, and they were like, hey, we had, a community member that reached out to us. They would like to have a DAPS, dialogue accountability process with you. It's Typha's daughter, and I was stuck. And I'm baffled that, Tyra wanted to sit down and have that process with me. I was like, man, most definitely.
Yeah. My dad's name's Typha Griffith, and he chose my name, Tyra Griffith. I don't have a lot of memories of him, but I remember that I was loved. Our family's close-knit and loves each other, and that his loss was a big loss, but his presence, he's still family.
And if you have any memory in entering into that process, how did it show up for you physically? How did it show up in your body?
I was a hot mess. Like when I first started putting all these pieces together, years of things I didn't deal with started to come back up. Before we met, I was a part of Collective Justice. They have a HEAL circle, Healing, Education, Accountability, and Liberation. It's this 6-month circle for families impacted by gun violence. And I was in that circle. I just coming off of the cusp of COVID, lost 14 family members in COVID, during COVID for different reasons. And I came into the space to heal. And through grieving, the first loss that came up for me was my dad's loss. I knew there was no other way for us to address this. But then I had to question myself, like, I've been doing healing circles, I've been in the community, I believe in this work, but do I believe it for this? Yeah. Do I believe it for myself? Because right now I can't sleep. And I had to really anchor myself. And I had to think about my faith. For me at first, it was a struggle. I cried in ways I never cried. I knew this conversation had to happen.
For you, Aaron, how did it, entering into this process, show up for you in your body?
Man, it was heavy. But I too had just finished the Heal Circle. Mm-hmm. When I was 14, I was with my father when he was shot and killed. This is what really drove home a big part of my change in making that decision to heal and change. Having experienced that and lived through that, and then correlating that to Tyra and realizing, what I inflicted on not just Typha and Tyra and her siblings and her family. It was like doubling down and reliving on the impact and the experience that I had and all the traumas that came with that amongst my siblings. And it's still crippling to this day. I just went and got my brother out of the hospital from being shot. Coming back to that, no longer wanting to hurt anybody ever again. When I finally came to that realization, being able to give the opportunity of some healing, to Tyra and anybody in her family.
This is some of the heaviest stuff any human being can live through and go through. And I think there's a lot of hope, but also weight placed on the transformative justice space. And so I want to know for y'all, in moving through this process, the other folks, whether it be the facilitators and practitioners or your family or community members, what does support look like in moving through this process?
I would say our facilitators, Matt and Martina, they were amazing supports, but also them connecting with my family and friends. I had 6 people who were holding me together. In a moment where you're going through something and you can call someone and they can encourage you or they can walk with you or breathe with you or whatever, I think having more than one person is important. Being available was the first thing. And sometimes I didn't know what I needed. Even before we started the process, the preparation we went through to be able to go through the process, I was like, nah, I don't want to do none of this. I just want to have a conversation. And they're like, no, this is important. They have very specific questions, about impact, questions about what do you want out of this? Then they asked 50,000 what ifs. And it was well, what if this happens? This can go any kind of way. How are you going to be after this, when you move through this? It was intentional. That was the main thing. It was intentional. I
specifically remember telling Matt, if she just wants to sit there, spit on me or slap me, I'm with it, bro. I'm ready. I know what to say. We don't need to go through all this. But the intentionality that Matt and Martina held, I feel like there couldn't have been anybody else that could have held that. And then all the other stuff that the process that went through, like the pod mapping, you know, how do you feel, you know what I'm saying, when things arise? How do you deal with that? What do you like? What don't you like? Identifying support people, you know, writing letters, going to the support people, laying that out to them. Like, this is the process that I'm going through. These are some of the things that come up. This is how I feel. This is what, you know, saying I tend to lean to or not lean to. It set us to a good place to be able to come together and actually have that circle, that conversation, that talk with each other. I don't know how it would have went without that, but it was perfect.
What y'all needed to prepare for this process sounds a lot like what all people just need. What do you feel is important for people to know about y'all's process?
The first thing that comes to my mind is starting with yourself. Like, you gotta be able to dig inward, identify wherever hurt, pain, trauma, whatever you're dealing with, you gotta identify your own rocks, right? And then be able to figure out what you're gonna do with them. You could build something with them. It could be powerful. You gotta choose though. Like, we ain't meant to do this stuff alone. It's hard when you try to do it alone. But when you find community and people who you can hold each other and support each other, this is how we do it. And no, it's not about changing others. Like, I'm not here to change Aaron. He's not here to change me. Choosing that for yourself, choosing to heal, choosing to prioritize it, and then choosing to share it. Because healing's not just for one of us, it's for all of us. It's hard to be vulnerable sometimes, but when you're willing to, it invites others to choose to grow and to choose community. I didn't tell my family.
Wow.
Going through the process, only a couple people. But I didn't want to. My family's in different spaces in life. Everybody ain't gonna handle things the same as me. The closest person to me is my grandma, and I got to share this with her and see her in her own forgiveness process. It's like, when I chose healing, it's impacting the generations in my family. For 25 years, I watched the impact of my dad's loss impact my whole family, impact the way holidays are, impact the way gatherings, anything, it's present. And for me to be able to walk with her and just see like peace, that's been a blessing for me.
Now I'm in a place to be able to give my kids something different. It's changed our neighborhoods, our communities, the ripple effects that this process has had. It's huge in each of our lives and in our community.
Dame, I could see it in your face a little bit watching the interview, but I'm curious, what did that feel like?
Honestly, talking with them meant so much to me, and it goes beyond just being a host. As someone who believes in this, who does this, advocates for this, it can be a struggle to believe that these processes can hold all of our needs. We first heard about Aaron and Tyra when we interviewed the Collective Justice folks on the 1 Million Experiments podcast, and we knew it was a compelling story. But sitting there with them in all of their vulnerability, I could feel the wounds that are still so real for each of them. And I also felt the undeniable strength they had gained by making the courageous choice to face their past and each other.
As they both said, they only could do this transformative work because they had guidance from an incredible circle of practitioners. Collective Justice is a community of survivors and imprisoned community members that facilitates transformative justice work in jails, prisons, classrooms, and community spaces. Dame circled up with a bunch of them around the dining room table to get a better sense of what it takes to actually make these types of transformations happen.
I want to shout out this food. This Trinidadian food was bomb. We smashed it all before we got the cameras rolling. And I want to shout out who prepared this for us and where can folks get some of this.
This is Pam's Kitchen.
Shout out Pam's Kitchen.
North Seattle.
North Seattle. Everybody, if you're in Seattle, definitely check out Pam's Kitchen. And it's really an honor to share space and break bread with y'all. What we have found is that, y'all are a network of folks who are really doing the work with some of the highest intentionality that we've seen across this land. And the way in which y'all are interconnected and support each other and are plugged into each other's work is something that we admire, honor, and want to dig deeper in. You've been in the work, been doing the work, been committed to these transformations. And with a little bit of zoom out and a little bit of food in your belly, I want to pull Matt and Martina back in because y'all introduced us to Tyra Aaron's story. And so we got to hear from them what it meant to go through the process, what preparation looked like, and the impact that it's had on their life and their work. And so for y'all sitting here now, what does it feel like?
I feel like it's normal, which is, I think what's special is like, it doesn't feel any different than any other day. Like we're in space together a lot. And I think that's like the thing that I feel like I learned the most from working with y'all, and that you kept teaching me time and time again. The process is a process about a specific moment in time. But you all were like whole people before and whole people after. And we get to like be in the complexity of all of our humanness. And I feel like you tap in and check in on me and facilitate me as much as I facilitate you. You're like, how you doing? You need anything? You need help? You're struggling? And like it's super reciprocal in all directions.
I would say like that was a moment, a beautiful moment that we got to share with you guys. And also there was like 15 years before that we had a relationship. And then years since it, Tyra and I, we just did a Restorative Justice 101 for like 50 community members. And then we brought Aaron in with a grounded. It feels good to sit in lockstep, you know, with everyone at the table, and especially with you guys. Especially, you know, a man who I looked up to that, you know, helped raise other men in prison like me. And there's so much more that we're doing. We were just in a meeting with 7 different organizations doing youth diversion work that he is leading, you know, to be able to sit with him in that work.
I was just basically a baby, and I was leading other kids, other men in the wrong direction. And that change that I had in trying to change things and trying to be different, I would like to hope has set a ripple effect to other men, young men in those spaces where the words that we talk about, like patriarchal and toxic masculinity and harm, is, you know what I'm saying, at its highest peak. And it's really taboo to go against that grain. And some folks get hurt going against that grain. You know, how Matt said, I raised him. I feel like coming home, Matt kind of raised me.
Yeah.
Being brought into this space, into this work. I've been supported by every single person sitting here in some way, shape, or form that has been so huge and impactful in my life.
Being on the outside of hearing about the circle process with Aaron and Tyra, and just the courage that it takes to engage in that. You think about RJ in theory, but then when you see it in practice, and then actual relationships are mended or created, and they're real. You know, like the fact that you could say it's normal, but in most people's mind, this is unthinkable.
And like, y'all really are family, and I'm not gonna lie. If somebody would tell me the 3 of y'all was like brothers, I feel like y'all really locked in. Y'all starting to look like each other. I don't know if y'all recognize that.
Like, I feel so much gratitude to be free. Amidst all of the chaos, what I can tell you is when, like, the last election in 2016 happened, I was in prison and everyone was worried about what was gonna happen, because the way that it had been framed was like, man, the world's gonna melt, you know? And so I just have like this immense gratitude to be free and in a community of care. And then I'm comparing that because I know we've got brothers and sisters that are still incarcerated that are going through those same emotions. For 4 years, we haven't been able to hold our heal circles, which is like the original process that we created. And when COVID hit, that was taken away. The vision was to get these circles in every prison because we knew the power that restorative justice had. So to have that again it's just encouraging. The hope is that we can get brothers and sisters to come out with the language, with the practice. And what does that do when they go home to their families or when they come to this community? Like, that's the culture we want to create. We want to elevate restorative justice and transformative justice and make this not a thing that's imaginary or some
fringe idea.
Yeah, fringe idea, but like these are really alternatives to what we've been conditioned to believe is all we have when it comes to how we address harm. Like, it don't gotta be punishment. That's not, you know, that's the one tool we've all been conditioned to think we got, and we fell for it. But like, we know better now, so let's let everybody know about it. You know, you want to get on the mountain. Like, hey, there's something over here. We got something over here.
When we say that we are a community, we are a family, like, that stuff is really real. Life happens, your life falls apart, And these people right here, they pick you up without even being asked. Like they're picking you up off of corners in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter. Hypothetically, so I've heard, it might have happened. But but it's really real. Like, and I see it in like the participants too, and the way that people come into that space and trust the facilitators. We eat, sleep, and breathe really what we say, really what we do, really how we move. Like, it is really about each other. It is really about a relationship. I had a conversation with somebody today and they said, like, with all the stuff you do, why are you still here? Like, aren't you exhausted? But I know that when I'm exhausted, even if I need to just stop in the moment, I can like look right or left. I don't even have to say nothing. And they just know. There is so much love in this room. I would not trade it for nothing.
I think just wear raggedy too. And I would start by saying, like, I don't think it does the movement any service to say we're exempt from all of the systems of oppression that live inside of our movements, that live inside of ours too. And that we often move quick, fumble, harm each other, sometimes go right past it, other times look back way later, and then have to start repairing. Accountability isn't something you do to someone. Right. That's punishment, right? Like, that's an external force that someone can passively receive, despite how painful it is. It's passive. Self-accountability is the stepping stone to accountability in a relationship. Like, I can't be accountable to harming Tyra if I'm not able to, like, calm my own nervous system enough to even track what the hell I'm doing and the impact I'm having, or to even hear what the impact is, right? Like, if I can't sit for that, then there's no way I can move toward accountability. But that it ultimately is about, like, me doing what I need to do to be clear about my values, to be clear about our values, our expectations of each other, and then that I am tracking the, like, gap between those values and my actions. And there always is a gap, like, always. If I miss a meal, like, if I skip lunch, my afternoon's gonna be wild, you know? Like, that gap is getting wider. I'm gonna talk crazy to my loved ones. I might need a nap, right? Whatever it is, if I'm not taking care of my basic needs or I'm not well, I'm gonna cause harm in small and big ways. We're in it. Like, we're not exempt from it. We have deep conflict, we have deep harm. Some of those conflicts get resolved, some of them do not. But I think the one thing that we have is, like, a real commitment to keep practicing. Like, we're just practicing all the time.
For me, I come to collective justice. Yeah, like healing and stuff, that just doesn't sound good to me. I feel like a lot of, like, what motivates me is love, but also, like, anger for injustice and stuff. And so I've kind of been, like, resistant to healing because I'm like, I don't want to get rid of some of the anger that I have. And I think about, you know, trauma. We all have this trauma. Some of the way I react to things or respond to things is like trauma responses. I'm someone that walks away, like, feeling abandoned from when I was, like, a kid. I think one of my responses is, like, you know, people don't stay in your life, like, people leave. And, like, here, people don't throw you away. They don't leave you alone. They don't let you walk off, you know? We have to be well and good in our own selves, and it's easy to, you know, look at the outside, but we have to, like, do the work internally, and I feel like CJ is helping me do that, because that's not something I've really valued.
Thank you for sharing that. That's really beautiful, and that honesty, I think, helps us move the conversation to where I want to go, because what I hear from what you're saying, and it rings true, is, like, our society, these systems of oppression, the structures that shape our identity and sense of self, create these trauma responses and these attachment styles that really are antithetical or incongruent with collectivity and with community. And for many of us, that is a difficult practice, because there's this interesting dynamic I've recognized in movement spaces, and it's really crystallizing in talking with y'all. So much of what we do is about the most extreme and intense structures of harm that are so big. And the work that y'all do is, you know, literally at the intersection of life and death. But at the same time, like the small little microaggression tensions that we feel can sometimes show up with the same intensity as the most harmful things that we can imagine. Shit sometimes don't be that big, but then it shows up super big. And how do y'all understand or process that?
What I was used to being inside or before I went to prison was, yes, if it's conflict, it's worth fighting over. And that is the answer. Like, you will be violent over it. In coming home, like it hasn't set me up for success, because when there is conflict or when someone lets me down, I haven't felt equipped to have those conversations and to continue to be in relationship. And that has been very, very difficult. That's been very, very difficult, you know, to be in conflict with someone. It's been a growing edge to be able to have conversations with people who I love. And also our relationship, it's not, oh, I'll die for you, I'll go to prison for you. Because that ain't the situation we're finna be putting each other in, right? Like
I'll send a long ass meeting for you.
How do we, you know, but those are my people coming home. Those are my people coming home who I love and adore. And that has been the expectation, you know? That was the expectation inside, that we'll take care of each other no matter what. We are falling short in our relationships and our expectations, because that is no longer like the expectation. And the things that we are asking of each other is different, and they may feel like they're small or not worth mentioning, like you're saying, but they are worth mentioning, and that's how we stay in the right relationship. Otherwise, this shit just pops.
Everyone who's in our work came to it because of our own rich trauma history, right? And so it's a bunch of people in the room, and we all have trauma responses. And your body doesn't assess threat post-trauma based on the severity of the conflict. Just like on a biological level, like we don't discern the difference between when our life is at stake and when we're in a conflict about an email that didn't get responded to. Like for real, you know? I'm like ready to throw my laptop out.
Trauma is an assault on your biology. And think about where folks are coming from and what they've been through and what they have been enduring, what's been passed down to them for generations and generations.
The bodies remember. Yeah.
And they also remember as we build new pathways. So like for every time that you feel some type of way and then the conflict gets resolved in a positive manner, or you come like ready to fight and the person responds with love and care, like every rep you get like that starts building new pathways for you. If I can feel in my own body what it feels like to like struggle and cooperate with deep radical love for one another, I can also imagine a world for all of us that looks like that. Like my actual, my ability to imagine something different for all of us is connected to my own ability to feel it in my own body at a small scale. And I, similar to you, like when I did not want to ever do therapy or healing work. I remember when I was on probation and my dad was like, I think you should go to therapy. You know, like, I feel like you should go to therapy. Like we're fighting a federal case with you right now. And I feel like you made some poor choices in your life. You should probably go work that out. And I was like, I don't need therapy. My friend the other day was like, remember when you didn't like healing? Like, remember when you used to clown all of us for that stuff? Like, look at you now. But the only thing, the invitation for me into healing work was an opportunity I had to be in a politicized healing group. And in that group, the like selling point, like I remember reading the little thing, and it was like, we do this so that we can stay in the work. Like we do this so that we can keep our movements alive and healthy for the long haul. And that was like the thing that gave me permission. I was like, okay, well, if it's gonna make me better at this, then like, I guess I'll try.
I ain't doing this for me, I'm doing this for y'all.
I'm doing it for the movement. Exactly. But it like cracked this thing, you know, inside of me. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know all that was there. Like, I didn't know there was that much work to be done. And I feel like I've just scratched the surface.
It is the little stuff that prepares us for the big stuff, but it's like, sometimes I think the little stuff that we hide behind to ignore the big stuff. So it's like we're, as an org, out here beefing about meeting in person versus virtual, or, you know, like, or hypothetically, or like if people are on time or not, because sometimes people are late. I don't know who that is. But I think sometimes that is like because there's a bigger issue, right? So I
can't end racial capitalism, but you can respond to my damn email.
Exactly.
Like I have power to do something here, so this is where I'm gonna flex it.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna move in this way because I'm here. You can bury yourself in those things, and then the bigger stuff. It doesn't seem less scary, but you can numb it out a little bit.
So Daniel, I know you weren't in the room with us.
Yeah, I was in my room with nobody.
But now that you're here, what's sticking out from you for the conversation?
Well, first and foremost, I got serious FOMO. I mean, I love Trinidadian food. I'm all about the doubles. And second, the warmth and love that was around that table seems like it was really special. I know I always need that reminder that this work isn't about being perfect or avoiding every single conflict. It's about committing to show up to work through those conflicts as best we can.
The collective justice team really embodies that commitment. And their story goes against this idea, this incorrect idea really, that people who are fighting for abolition are disconnected from the reality of incarceration and really the streets. That somehow we're separate and naive about, quote unquote, what it's really like. Every person around this table in Seattle knows that reality because they lived it. And like Aaron and Tyra, they made a choice to transform.
And not just to transform themselves. They opted into the messy, challenging, and powerful work of healing the relationships of those around them. That choice can be scary to make. It goes against almost all of what we're taught about how to relate to people in conflict.
But look at what it can create. This circle of people and the whole constellation of experimenters who hosted us, API Chaya, Impop, Creative Justice and Collective Justice, are doing such beautiful, life-giving work across their city. And this isn't just Seattle. There are networks of people transforming what justice and safety look like in community all over the world. Every day, the circle keeps growing and moves us closer to liberation.
Until next time,
much love to the people.
Peace.